Welcome to the show that teaches you the things your parents and teachers are too afraid to. The Helios blog. Today, Mikhaila Peterson slips up talking about Andrew Tate. Big surprise.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
And
Rollo.
you can go into as much as possible, or at least as you want to. How's your interview with Rollo, and what are your I want to say thoughts
Takeaways
after
from
that?
it,
yeah.
So I actually wanted to interview Rollo for a number of years because I'd heard about his book, The Rational Male,
Liar.
in like high school. I remember people reading it when I was in high school.
Liar.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. This kind of
Big
sphere that he's in
liar.
is interesting. I actually invited him on before I knew that he'd done a video on me. So
Also-
he did this video that was kind of like
Big freaking liar.
it was like indirectly comparing me to someone who had killed their child to go party.
Whoa.
It was intense.
The
and
thumbnail, right, is what you're referring to?
It was a thumbnail, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was also like, this is what Mikhaila did, and then some words, and then like Casey Anthony did this. So there was definitely a comparison there. And even if it was just on the thumbnail, I was like, okay, this needs to be addressed. It had quite a few views. You hooked me up with him,
Yeah,
which would like, thank you.
Yeah,
'Cause
no
the
worries.
conversation was really worth doing.
yeah. I think it's important to, be able to connect people that might have opposing views and, be able to have a civil discussion on it,
Yeah. I mean, I think not being able to do that is breaking apart America at the moment.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it was good. It was stressful. Like, it wasn't an enjoyable podcast. I thought maybe when we started that we could kind of get on the same level by the end, but I don't think we ended up getting on the same level. But we went through,
That's because you're a psychopath liar. It's just masked behind a pretty facade of plastic surgery.
like broke down some of the, I guess not conspiracies, but just some of the lies that are out there about me.
Yeah.
Some that he had kind of probably
You didn't do that.
helped promulgate a bit,
Mhm.
broke that down for the first hour, and then let him talk about the book. We talked about his book and his work for the second hour.
Mhm.
It got, I don't know,
He's got more than one book.
it's almost at 300,000 views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was popular, and I don't know. It was interesting. It was very interesting. He's an interesting guy.
Amazing.
It was interesting.
She really doesn't
Okay.
like Rollo.
All right,
Awesome.
no, I mean, hey, man, I'm like I said, we recently did something very similar. We went on, the Flagrant 2
Flagrant 2.
podcast. They had
Andy
very
Schultz.
different views than we did. And, sometimes, you got to, and I've said it so many times on the pod, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
sometimes
I was
talking to people that
definitely-
challenge your
yeah.
views makes you grow as a person, makes you see things you might have not seen before. And, I think it was a good discussion. I'm glad that I was able to hook y'all up. You guys were able to obviously create a video that got quite a bit of views. You guys were able to both, say your piece and talk to each other. And, I think that's what it's about, man. I think if people spoke more to each other that have opposing views versus just like attacking each other without the other person there to defend themselves or be
Yeah.
able to, have these discussions, it would be a better place.
You know
in
what's the
general.
best part? The audience can see for the first time
Yeah.
two opposing sides, what they
Yeah.
believe, and they make a choice for themselves.
Bam.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I agree with this part of what she says, I agree with this part of what he says. I can make a sound decision and say, you know what? I believe this. And that's important.
Yeah.
If you don't have two sides to the story, you know, one side, what's the
Yeah.
point?
Yep,
So-
absolutely. And we obviously, you guys know we're good friends with Rollo Tomassi,
Yeah.
but we like Mikhaila as well. So, hey, if we can hook y'all up, fantastic. You guys had a great conversation, got some views.
Yeah. It was
She's
worth
like,
doing.
"Oh, well."
Yeah. It was worth it. It was, like I said, it was stressful.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I was stressed. I think I was angry, actually. I'm not I'm neurotic. I don't get like freaked out easily. I'm pretty stable, but I was definitely, after I saw that video, I was definitely angry, which I don't normally get.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I care very much. I'm glad we had the conversation. I'm glad he came on.
Yeah, we understand.
Speaking of which, so what are your views on the current, I guess, state of men and women right now when it comes to relationship, feminism, being progressive, etc.?
It's really funny because Mikhaila will say she's not woke, but then she'll support it to the death. Like half of what woke people support and believe in. So it's so blatantly bullshit.
deterioration of the family unit. What are your overall thoughts on that?
And she got divorced and remarried too. So, and cheated on her husband with Andrew Tate. Like,
I think, well, it's definitely happening. There's also an increase in mental illness overall. So I don't know how much of it has to do with that.
Mikhaila's
I
the
think
poster child
part
for
of it
that.
is, or maybe a majority of it is caused by the birth control pill. And I'm like, a big aspect of my podcast is health based. And the birth control pill is really hard on women.
Yes.
Like it's really hard on women. It makes completely sane women go crazy. And people don't talk about it. It's like, oh, side effect, you know,
And they're
may
already
cause
crazy a little bit
insanity.
anyway from the beginning.
Oh,
Wait,
Lord.
Well, no, but like,
That
but
explains it.
yeah. So I think that's a huge problem. And then we have people who are really far left being like, oh, you know, every male is prone to violence and like don't associate with them, and they're just like bad people, can't change, right? And that's like the least of what people are saying, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, they're innately evil, or they're not innately evil and you can just train them out of it. And then you just like pressure them into being feminine. It's completely screwed up. And then I think
that's right.
I think that there are people who are on the other side, men in particular, on the other side, who are like, oh, all women are X. So all women are, I mean.
Again, Mikhaila, just with this statement alone, has admitted that she's woke.
Women are a little bit more emotional than men, quite a bit more emotional than men. So I'll let them have that. But I think both sides contribute to the issue and are widening this gap so that men and women can't communicate. I would say the majority of the problem is on the left. Like the majority of the problem is on the left for sure. But I don't know how it's going to get better. Like I think it's just going to get worse for a while anyway, with people being split.
I agree with you 100%.
There's no going back now.
We've talked about this, and what I predict is, you know, that relationships are going to become harder and harder, and I suspect.
Basically, unless you're a very highly competitive, successful man, nothing is going to happen for you. You're going to get literally zero. Like, girls in 2024 are more picky than they've ever been. And with, you know, Instagram, social media, and all that crap, skewing things even worse, it's not going to get better. It's going to get much, much worse before it gets any better. And all that will lead to is misery for all, because girls can't all have a top man, right? And until it's in the global female consciousness, I cannot do this well. It is impossible. I will never get married. I will never find a man if I believe this. Until they truly believe this to their core and they act in accordance, in alignment with that, things will not change. And in fact, they will continue to get worse and deteriorate. That's my opinion anyway. That's what I believe is going to happen, and for the foreseeable future anyway.
In the next 10 years, you know, that there's going to be more single people than ever before. You know, the family unit is going to continue to disintegrate. And you know, we got a hookup culture right now, and that's kind of what's going on. It is what it is. You know, we kind of are involved in it. Because here's the thing with us, we understand that, you know, children are best reared in a dual, you know, parent household. You know, that's pretty much a fact at this point. You know, single parent households lead to the destruction of, you know, a society where you're going to have productive people, right? But at the same time, let's be honest here. You know, women have more options than they've ever had before. They make more money than they've ever made before. The need for a man provisioning isn't really there as much. So if you don't need the money like that and the security, well, what's left? You know, I kind of want the hot guy.
Fun time.
You know,
Cancun.
Cancun. Foam cannon party, as a famous guy once said, right? And what's kind of happened is that, you know, women are waiting later and later to, you know, get married or have a relationship. And, you know, that obviously has effects on the marketplace. And I would say women are more selective nowadays too than ever before as well when it comes to what they want in a man. And a lot of guys don't measure up. You know,
Yeah, because women are now looking for the top 4.5% of men. At least the last time I checked the Tinder statistics, when they did the Tinder statistics last time, that's what it said. It's skewed even more than it used to be. It's not top 10 or top 20 like it used to be. No, top 4.5%. Just think about what that means for the average man. It means you're not getting anything if you're not highly competitive and successful. And so it's time better spent becoming this competitive, successful man versus wasting your time chasing girls. Going back to medieval times, right? You're going to have to be 35 plus before marriage.
A lot of women are chasing a very small percentage of men. So And then on the other end, right? Because we hold both genders accountable here. A lot of the guys, aren't as productive. You know what I'm saying? Like, since women have stepped up and made more money, a lot of guys are like, oh, fuck it, I don't need to do this shit. Like, I'm just gonna chill. You know what I'm saying? Guys aren't really going to school like that. A lot of guys aren't as ambitious. Obesity is on the rise here in the States in general. So both genders are kind of contributing to this issue. You know what I'm saying? We tell guys all the time, like, hey, you need to become the best version of yourself, so that a byproduct of being the best version of yourself is getting the women. And then obviously the women are going to be selective. So you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I agree with you. I think
it's tricky. It's a really tricky situation because, like, what are you supposed to do exactly? So women came into the workplace, right? They got basically, but the birth control.
Women like you, Mikhaila.
Came into play. So you're not like
women that got divorced like you, Mikhaila.
Just having babies all the time. And then you're in the workplace and they're like, the workplace is fun, right? Just because you're a woman doesn't mean the workplace isn't fun. So the workplace is fun. And then I think part of the problem is, and I think the
workplace is not fun. Being able to swipe your credit card and get away with it is fun, with no consequences, wasting your money because women don't invest. Like, anyway,
probably happened through second generation feminism. Maybe is that being a mother didn't matter.
It's also that's also bullshit, right? That first wave, second wave, third wave, 20th wave womanism crap. It's also false. Right? Like, there's no such thing as second wave womanism. It's all the same womanism. That was the whole point from the beginning, was to brainwash these girls into being idiots for you. That was the whole point. And when I say for you, I mean basically to make a quick buck, right? To make society and make a quick buck. You raise the GDP of the country, but at the expense of what? At the expense of women's happiness, effectively.
Matter. They're like, it doesn't matter. Oh, you're a mom, right? Or it's like, oh, you're a stay-at-home mom. That's like, do you have a career? So like, what do you do? And that wasn't just like, that was coming from women. That was coming from society as a whole. It was like, well, what's your degree?
Stigma.
Yeah, like such a stigma. And so I think that really skyrocketed people being like, oh, well, I don't want to be a mom. There's like a stigma against mom. Like, who are moms? What do they do? They're not smart type of thing, which doesn't make any sense because everybody has a mom, right? So I don't know what to do with it or how to fix it. Like you said, how do you fix it? Because you can't be like, well, stay at home, because then you're going to have a whole bunch of women who don't want to stay at home. Like
they're
me,
gonna hit you with the,
right?
How dare you?
Yeah. They're gonna hit you with that.
Well, yeah, you can't. So I don't know how to go backwards. I mean, what my dad teaches is, become the best, like you said, become the best version of yourself and then see what happens. And I think that
she's the classic girl who's like daddy's money. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can't go like a conversation without mentioning her dad. She's just a product of her daddy's money.
That's like anybody's best option at the moment, which is just improve yourself, maybe get more education, which doesn't have to be in university because those are also dead.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, go online, learn marketing or something, like do something productive, dress properly, right? Which can change a lot. And I guess just hope for the best because like you said, we can't go backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I think and I will say this too, because at this point, we've interviewed, because as you know, we have our late night show, we bring the girls in and all the craziness happens.
I've heard so many people told me not to come on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like everyone I asked, I was like, Fit and Fresh, they have a lot of and they're like, don't go on that.
Fit, those two dudes that talk shit in Miami.
Yeah.
I love it.
But sorry, go ahead. So they were like, oh, let me guess, they're like, oh, they're assholes, they're misogynists, whatever, maybe, right? Probably.
I think I heard that you guys have the worst not press exactly, about a podcast, just in the podcast world.
And we embrace it.
Bro, that's a Don DeMarco right there. We did it.
Worst press.
We are.
All publicity is good publicity.
The villains.
Yes, we
did it, man.
We're like the 6ix9ine of like podcasts.
Literally. Yeah, we are very controversial. Hey, it happens.
Anyway, I'm here. I thought it'd be fun.
You're here. But yeah, so like for because we deal with guys, right? We coach a lot of guys. We doubt at this point hundreds, if not thousands. Yeah. And then we brought over 1,000 women to come on the show to talk. And we're in a very unique position because we see the female perspective, because we talk to women all the time, and the male perspective. And what I've come to realize is that a lot of women do shame girls that want to be mothers. It's almost like girls have to kind of conceal it, and we have to pry it out of them during the course of the show. And they'll say, you know what? Yeah, I have a job, but real talk, I just want to be a mom. I want to have kids, and I want to, if I could stay home and my man could support me, I would absolutely do that. And it's amazing how like a girl will say it, and then some girls will agree with her, but then some other girls that typically have careers or
Play your
younger
career first.
they'll be like,
It's virtue signaling in the same way that it's in fashion to say that you are, to wear your hair a certain way or to wear your clothes a certain way. It's also fashionable for girls to speak a certain way and to talk about certain topics. And they don't care about actual reality, what's actually true. That's not what's important to them. What's important to them is what is in fashion? What should I say? How should I maintain my status, my position? How should I keep myself from being, hurt by other people? How can I protect myself? That's really what girls are about. So it's just totally different from men.
like,
Get the
and
bag.
they'll almost shame her.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy to me because it's like, I think being a mom is the best thing you can do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, men can't be moms. You know what I'm saying? That's like a gift that only women can give and only women can do. And I think that's obviously why they say, women and children off the boat first and men stay on the boat. You know what I'm saying? Because it's critical to the,
So Myron here is showing his lack of higher education, but it's because women are more genetically important than men, right? Like, genetically speaking, you could lose like most of the men in the society, you'd be fine. But if you lose most of the women, your society will crash. That's what he's trying to get at, and failing to do so spectacularly. But that's the point he's trying to make. Is men are less valuable than women in terms of genetics. You can restore your whole population with the women. You can't do so with the men. And women are more about reproduction than men as well. You'll notice that's also a thing.
so the propagation of society is children.
So you being a mom and having a career basically for yourself, podcast, helping your dad around the world, what's that like?
It's tricky. Like when it first started, I felt a lot of guilt. I was like, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, well, am I supposed to be staying at home? And I had like my daughter, so she was 1 at the time, and I've been home the whole time, although I've been working at the same time. So like baby, laptop. And I was like, I don't know if it's my personality. I know I have more of a masculine personality. It was like, I'm drowning. I need something to do. And I think also it's because having kids now isn't the same as it used to be. So you have kids now, and like I was young, I was really isolated. Like all my friends were out partying. It's not like I wanted to go out and party, but I just didn't have any friends anymore. So maybe if it was like
Kill to party. Rollo was right. Rollo called it incredibly. Do you notice that? Rollo called it like dead on. She regrets that she had a child and didn't enjoy the fun that the other girls got to have. It's FOMO, right? It's the fear of missing out. I didn't get to bang around. I missed out. As though that's something enviable, right? Disaster.
less isolating, but no, still. I need like work. I'm ridiculously productive. Like I'm waking up
that's
at
important
7.
to know. So you had your child and your dad was going through the controversy. So you had already kind of polarized your friends because some of them were like, okay, we're going to stick by you with this controversy. And then some, okay.
Yeah, it was tricky. I had like a core group of friends, but it was pretty isolating. So I don't know. Like I look at my brother, he's married, and my sister-in-law is like super thrilled with being a stay-at-home mom. And she's an amazing stay-at-home mom. And she's fulfilled doing that. And so I think you have like the majority of women who are probably doing that. My best friend's like that too. She's super happy. She's at home with a kid. Her husband supports her.
I think
like,
that's the best
super
setup,
happy.
man.
Yep.
Call me old school.
It depends. It depends on the woman though. Like if you're like, that isn't going to work with me. I'm going to be at home and I'm going to be angry that I'm not doing more. Right. I need more to do. However, I think there's a subset of women who are probably smart people and very industrious who can do both. So it's not like I don't want to have more kids. I want to have more kids. I really want to have more kids, but I'm going to be the type of mom that has a career, has kids, and probably has help taking care of the kids. And I've
so that's like that's like that you watch movies, right? That's like the boss babe mom, power mom, like that supposedly exists somewhere. Yeah, and apparently this doesn't have any negative effects on the children. Yeah, that's full bullshit.
Wrap my head around that, even though it made me insanely guilty to begin with. But it's either that or I'm going to be at home and resentful.
Guilty from wanting to do more from work, or guilty from wanting to do more as a mom?
No, guilty for.
Imagine you're so brainwashed. Imagine you're so brainwashed by wokeism that this is how you think you should live your life. Imagine that. That's Mikhaila's life.
Wanting to do more at work.
Okay.
And being like, why do I want this? Is there something wrong with me?
Okay.
Which I guess isn't how normal. I don't know if women normally think like that, but I was like, yeah.
Would you say that's because
it's funny that she says she's not neurotic, but those are the very thoughts of a neurotic person.
you got that kind of from your dad?
Probably.
Seeing how he works?
Yeah, probably. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and
okay.
Although I think that she probably needed more to do too. But
so from your experience, obviously you know a lot of women that have these lifestyles. Would you say women prefer a career or having a kid, or even having both at the same time?
Like from my experience, I would say probably prefer having a kid and doing less work. Okay. Probably preferred. I mean, I have a couple of friends who are super industrious and they like working. But I would say a lot of my friends aren't like me, right? And they're happy at home, which is fantastic. I think that's how that's a stable family right there. I think it's a lot more tricky if you have a woman that's like, no, I want to do more.
Yeah.
Or you want to, yeah. Yeah, I think the part of the problem is a lot of women aren't able to now, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't survive off one income, and people are kind of stuck in this, so then they have to work even though they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're with a woman that actually wants to work, then that's like another tricky situation that you're gonna have to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this on our pod too. Like, because
you need to be at the level where working for your girl is optional. If she wants to work, she can, but she doesn't have to. She's not forced to work. If she feels like she's forced to work, it's bad. But if she, is empowered or whatever, like, and by empowered, I mean, like, she feels that you have given her the opportunity to pursue whatever she wants, like freedom, then that's different, right? That's a huge arrow in your quiver, right? It's something that most men cannot provide. So that's another way to make the alpha imprint on a girl.
Because I like to, if I was to get married and have a family, I would want that traditional setup. But I'd be okay with, because I would say, hey, the kids come first. You got to be home with the kids because fuck a daycare and everything else like that. And that's my personal take on it. I think kids are best raised by their biological parents or a grandmother if needed, right? Where the woman needs to enter the workplace. But, I would say, hey, work from home, especially with, the internet and, technology in general. Like
even back in the day, though, when people were living in tribes, women went out and worked. Mm-hmm. Like this isolating woman at home.
Yeah, they did. They picked berries and stuff with the children. So they were working while having children. It's true. It actually is true. It's just the tasks that they were doing weren't as difficult as what the men were doing, or as dangerous.
And then man at work 9 to 5 family unit isn't normal. If you go back like 300 or 400 years, people were cared for by aunts and uncles and cousins and, well, maybe not uncles as much.
That's why they say it takes a village to raise a family.
Yeah.
To raise kids. That's where the phrase comes from.
Yeah, and there were people who went out, and whether or not that was gathering things or doing some sort of work or making weapons even, there were different factions of tribes that did other things. Mm-hmm. And there were women that stayed around the kids. Or even if you worked on a farm, like women spent all day cleaning clothes, washing things. I don't know.
Yeah, that it's really funny because before, like stout women, like fatter women were actually appreciated because they could do more work around the farm, right? You wanted a girl to be more stout because she's a better worker, right? And that used to be a thing. But whatever is created by leisure is always in demand, right? Is always more attractive. So, like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but if it requires a lot of work to be thin in your society, that's what will be the beauty standard. If it's almost impossible to get food, being fat will be attractive because it's very hard to do, right?
Plucking chickens, cooking, like trying to keep their family fed, and then their family took care of the kids. And right now it's hard, I think, for a lot of women to be at home by themselves. especially if no one is having kids around them.
Mm.
Like it'd be easier with friends or cousins or like someone else out there having kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Well said.
as you know, as you have more and more children, then obviously things it go right. With one kid, maybe you can manage some work, whatever. Then with two, maybe okay, I got to cut the work back a little bit. So it depends on, I guess, on the situation, how many kids you want to have, the working, it goes case by case for sure.
So, Mikhaila, does this cause you think depression in a lot of women, where they struggle between a career, having kids? They're kind of like, what should I do? In your opinion?
I mean, probably it's one of the like main concerns. And I know a lot of women who like put it off because the media also tells you that you can have kids until like don't worry.
Like you're 40.
You're like 35 or 38. Look at this celebrity who had a kid when she's 40.
Yeah.
And then I know people who are even mid 30s and couldn't have kids or a little bit younger than that. And they're like, what? Like I've been told a lie.
Yeah.
So
That's one of the biggest lies we tell women is they can put off
that is,
having
and
children
that
and
is
family.
a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Because like you're missing out on one of the reasons people are people, right? That's crazy.
We have a solution, actually. We say invest in Chewy because a lot of women nowadays,
I gotta
unfortunately,
be single, man. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, invest in cat food and dog food and crap like that, because more women than ever will be single and childless and buy a pet because they can't have children. It's true. Cat food, dog food, and more. Vibrators and so on. Yeah, those of you who are depressed, sorry, not depressed, but who have a depressive or more realistic outlook on the future. It's a way to capitalize on female misery. Alright, anyway. That's neither here nor there. Let's end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all for notifications, drop me a donation like Hunter M, Adrian R, Tom and Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, Andrew, and Alan. Shout outs to you. Most recent purchase of Strategist Guide to Seduction. Thank you. Go buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. Want to watch my videos in batches of like 4 instead of 1 per day? You can. I offer early access on my Patreon. Also, if you want better advice than Mikhaila Peterson could ever give you, just message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com. I offer coaching services. Okay. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.